Okay. And we are live. Yay.
We're live. Let's get
Hi,
the
everybody.
notifications out.
Oh, my goodness. As soon as we went live, look, the star had to show up, had to get on my lap. Hi, everybody. We are Sacred Sounds of Coffee, JennLynn and me, Gail from Spark Soul Therapy. Welcome, welcome. I love these. This is like my favorite.
I love these too, and I'm so excited for today's topic.
Yes. So we are doing Growth and Rebirth today, it being February, and we're headed into the spring. For those of you that...
The groundhog did not see a shadow today, so spring is going to be early.
Okay, I love it. Oh, excellent. He was like, get me out of here. I don't know what you people are on about. Put me back in my hole. Oh my gosh, I love this time of year. It's like the tail end of the winter, difficult, and February's generally hard for me anyway. Like I live in the Midwest. It's cold. It's we really go underground for a couple months. So it's tough, like I am a sun person. I love, spring and fall and summer, the warmth, so but I have to say, in my last few years, I would say, as I, kind of try to look at things differently, last few years, I have just taken, I call them the dark times, when we head into like November, December, January, where it's dark by 4:30 or 4 o'clock, and you're waking up in the morning to go to work and it's dark, and I have learned to kind of accept that darkness and honor it, and just sort of take it like a warm blanket around you. We kind of hibernate. I kind of hibernate like the animals, and I have a stack of books that I've been wanting to read. And the last few years, I actually have been picking a topic. Like last year, I got 2 volumes of Isis Unveiled, like something really eggheadish and dense. Do you know what I'm saying? That you really have to focus on. And I'm like, what better way than when it's completely dark outside? You can't do anything. So I did that, was working on that last year. And then this year I did 6 weeks of astrology with Dr. Vicky, which was awesome.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And so I got a massive stack of astrology books that it's so complex and layered, and there's just so much that it's a perfect topic for like the winter months. So
yeah. I don't know if you saw the video I did with her a week ago.
Yes,
where she did my chart.
Yes,
it was fascinating to me because I'm getting ready to go for the healing seminar in June, and how much of my healer stuff showed up in my chart, that I came into this lifetime to do healing.
Yes, that was so fascinating, and I adore her, and that was really cool, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Jen, that's it, like just healing. I'm like, wow, but it's so
like
fascinating.
Multiple ways, and I was like, wow. With my notes and everything, I have to go back and make notes because I was paying attention to her, talking, so I didn't make any notes. Like, I've got to go back and watch that video and make notes.
Yes, I actually had a reading with her like a year ago, and I went back as I started to study again and re-listened to the whole, because she works with you for like an hour. And there's just so much. And I was like, oh, okay, and made general notes, but I really went back at it. I'm like, oh my God, now that I have some understanding, like basic, I was like, wow, it's so fascinating, like how it can just pinpoint your life to a T.
Yeah, we did, it was kind of an abbreviated thing, but we wanted to give people an idea of what it was like getting your astrology chart read. And I think, this time, with Pluto moving into Aquarius and moving into the age of Aquarius, I think it's really, a significant time to get your chart read. There's a lot of change going on, and a lot of rebirth, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I think we are going through such a shift, and it's time. That's what I keep reminding myself. Like, as I kind of take on these heady topics and, things, it's time. Like we're at that place where we really need to dig in and figure out who are we on this planet? What's coming next? What do we need to do? Like just hold space, hold love, hold light, because we're going through the bumps, and we have been, now we're kind of clearing it.
Speaking of space, if I can do a shameless plug for a second,
Please.
if anyone watching wants to sign up for the healing seminar in Portland, Oregon in June, there's 2 different weekends, 2 different events. They're going to be identical, so just pick one date or the other. Go to JennLynnTarot.com, my website, if you would like to sign up for it. And also, if you'd like a personal reading with me, you can also do that on my website. I have some openings in March. And getting ready to start booking up April.
Awesome. I'm so excited for that. I
think it's important for people to understand, because there's a technique to it that I teach, that even if you have no experience with healing energy, you can learn how to do this. It's not something that you have to be a healer to do it. If you're a natural healer, you'll pick up on it quicker maybe, but anyone can do it, and you can practice with it. And I practiced on my pets when I first learned how to do it.
Right. Yeah, it's awesome. And honestly, I've done Reiki and I've been in your seminars before, Jen, but I'm just excited to go. You can learn so much, even if you're a healer for a long time. Like it could be, it's just a depth to it that you do that I just love. And we can all brush up, even if you're already doing healing work. Like it's just fascinating and fabulous. I'm so excited. And I've never been to Portland before, so I am stoked.
Take a couple extra days. Friday night is registration and brief talk, and then Saturday is all day 9 to 6, and then Sunday is a half day 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Saturday is all day healing energy all day. Sunday, nice. We're going to do some fun things like exercises to open up your mediumship and your psychic abilities and connecting to your guides and stuff. So yeah, it's not going to be just healing.
Right. Yeah, no, you cover a lot of ground. That's the other thing I'm excited about. Like that.
I'm so excited to have a full day to focus on the healing, because there's a lot of exercises we don't spend a lot of time on. When I was teaching in Sedona, because I only had 3 hours to teach in. So to have a full day and really get to explore some of the exercises a little bit more, I think people will get more out of it.
Yes, agreed. That's half the excitement. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm so glad you decided to do that. Like, yeah, it's time.
Wow, so we have lurkers today, and not chatters in the chat, I see. Growth and rebirth, it's just such a interesting time to reinvent yourself.
Yes.
But I think it all starts with growth. Don't you think? Like, you have to have the growth to reinvent yourself.
Absolutely.
And rebirth into something.
Yes. You have to be willing to grow and willing to, like when the little flowers, I always think the first guys that come up are crocus, right? And daffodils. And, when they start pulling their little, you see just the little part of the stem and then boop. But you have to be willing to keep pushing and be willing to come above and grow. And yeah, for sure.
Come up out of the snow.
Yeah. It's a fight, man. Yes.
Be willing to walk through a little bit of snow sometimes.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. And I think that, especially those of us, like I was watching YouTube. I follow a woman that lives in Svalbard, which is an island off the coast of Sweden, I believe. And it's between there and the Arctic Circle. So they're out in the middle of nowhere, floating on this little island, and they spend 6 months a year in the dark. So it's I talk about my, Midwestern darkness, like they're just, you have to prepare your mind for that. But It's so fascinating, like when the light starts to come back, and when, just to, I think living in these climates, it kind of teaches us that cycle more so than if you live somewhere that's sunny all year. Like you kind of have to, I've done that too. And you kind of have to find that in other ways, but it's so interesting. Like I love having the seasons, having the dark times. Now that I've gotten a grip on what I need to be doing with it, I've come to appreciate it more, I guess.
I
But
love dark because I love candlelight.
yes,
And I love how, in darkness, that the light glowing, and that's us. It's like even in the darkness, we can glow. We can spread our light. I was
yes,
listening to the weather forecast the other day on our local news. You and I both live here in Illinois, and they were talking about this Sunday that the sun won't set till like 5 o'clock, and our days are starting to get longer, where we've been getting dark at like 4 o'clock. Now it's moving more to 5 o'clock, and I'm like, oh wow, it, it's it always kind of shocks me when it stays light longer.
yes, it's true. And it feels so good, right? Like I love I've come to appreciate it, but boy, seeing that sun, seeing her and connecting with her and knowing she's there's nothing like it. And
I think it's kind of like our light, and just like a
yes,
candle, it's kind of shocking, to people that are maybe having a bad day or whatever. When we come out and we shine our light, it can be a little bit shocking to others.
yes, yes, for sure. And I think that's one of the lessons, like, that's part of the rebirth and the growth is that we need to, those of us that, with that kind of awareness need to be shining that light and showing it and sharing it and, as much as we can. I mean, I think that's one of the lessons of this time right now, coming into Aquarius and, kind of moving through all these rough times. I think people are looking for light. I really think they are.
I was thinking about this, like be a guiding light for others to follow. Doesn't mean that you have to be like a leader,
Right.
big movement or anything. It means living by example. People
Yes.
will follow you just living by example. They'll be like, wait, why is she always so positive? Or why does she kind of glow different?
Right.
So you can be a leader just by living by example.
Absolutely. I don't like to do anything else. And if you're not interested in my example, that's okay too. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do.
Beth Cat saying that's the Christmas tree that stays up year round. It's like candlelight. It is. It's like I love the lighting of it. I love
Yes.
Christmas tree lights, twinkle lights, and candle lights. I light little votive tea light candles all the time.
Yes. I have candles everywhere. And that is true. Like when I think about the winter, I do think about that warmth, candlelight feeling and a stack of books, or even like I have a fireplace, and that is just like, it's like you're a moth to a flame in the winter.
Yeah, I miss having a fireplace. I don't have a fireplace in this house, and I miss it so much because I
Yeah.
would like light candles and build a fire and just sit there, with the candle light and the glow of the fire.
Yes. It's healing, very healing, and it gives you that chance to go in and still feel present with the
It's
and
hard in
connect.
difficult times to stay positive. It's hard to um, take a step back for a second and learn from your experiences. Why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel like I'm struggling or I'm stuck or something? And um, the growth comes from what we learn. And we
Right.
learn a lot in difficult times, right? It's almost forced upon us to learn. But I love the phrase "turn pain into power." So if you take a minute to learn from an experience, okay, why did I go through this? Why is this going on? And then establish your power and strength and move forward and getting back in the present. The past is only to look at, to learn from. Don't live
Right.
there. So turning pain into power. Eckhart Tolle had a quote I wanted to read. You create a good future when you create a good present. And I love that.
Nice.
It's like, it's about getting into the present. We're all creators. We're all, the divine I am. We're all gods that can create. Um, So you have to take some time to think about your own canvas and what you want to paint on it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I adore him. Yeah, I love that. It's very true. And he spent his whole career teaching people how to be in the present.
Get in the present. It's okay to plan for the future, because you have to think of, a little bit about, like retirement and things like that. Plan for the future while you're in the present, but don't live in the future.
Right.
That's where a lot of anxiety comes from. People start like panicking and stuff because they start thinking about the future too much. It's
Absolutely.
like, just get in the present. Get in the present.
Yes. And that's so hard. Even I think always about our young kids and our kids in high school, anxiety and depression with them has just skyrocketed. And, I feel like there's this push to be, all these things in the future, but there's also a fear of the future just in the way things are going, all the shootings and the bullying and the crazy stuff,
I think a lot of people get stuck. Groundhog Day, perfect time to talk a second about getting stuck. Do you feel like you're doing the same things over and over again?
Right.
That your creative juices aren't there. And a lot of times you just have to get curious and eager to learn again. So if it's taking a class or trying, watching a video on YouTube, DIY or something, and trying something yourself, get curious about something new, and learn about it. That'll get the creative juices going.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when we're in the dark time, that day after day, the gray, all of it just kind of perpetuates that. But yeah, I saw something the other day that said dwell in possibility. And I think this month and going into spring is like the perfect time for that concept. It's really important.
I tell people all the time, like, take a few minutes to daydream and dream bigger, bigger, bigger. Like, make it so exaggerated. Whatever it is you're trying to manifest, make it so, just off the wall, and then let the universe bring you a little bit more, and a little bit more. You may not get to that exaggerated dream, but if you don't dream really big, it's hard to get things to start moving sometimes in the universe. So don't be afraid to dream really, really big.
Yes.
It's like if you're trying to create financial abundance, don't think about just the money you need today for mortgage payment. Think about, the money down the road, and then just, put it out there that I'm a multimillionaire, whatever, make it so exaggerated.
Right. How big can it be?
Yep. That money will find you, and you'll have what you need.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, it's so true. And I think, just, not entering into that time of expectation and planning and, all of that with fear, like getting rid of the fear or the doubt or, all of that stuff. It's just.
It's so hard sometimes when you're going through stuff to stay positive, to keep positive energy out, because those fears start preying on you. And if you look at your past experiences and what has happened, your experience will teach you that this too shall pass, right?
Yes.
Like it doesn't just keep on.
Right. One way or another.
This too shall pass. Yes, you'll keep having things you experience to learn from, that may be a little bit difficult, but your past teaches you this too shall pass. So if you can focus on that, it'll help you get a little more positive sometimes.
Yes, definitely. And I think, just coming up with things that remind you of that. So like for me, when, we're coming into the change, coming into the new, I always am inspired by like planting a garden. So now I have to plant in pots because I'm in a different place, but like there's nothing more emblematic of that growth and that starting into the new, then planning like for seeds to come up. What are you going to plant? What's going to grow? Like, it's such an exciting time to like sit with your catalogs and like figure out what you're going to do. And then just to watch it start to grow. Like, it's so, gardens are so, like, that's one of my focuses for coming through into spring.
So, talking about the dreaming big and exaggerating something, I'm so bad when I look at seeds and plants and bulbs and things of going over the top. I order too much and I put them in the ground, then my flowers come up too crowded, right?
Right.
Like, my labyrinth garden in the back is like a sea of daisies now, where they're even growing up in the path of the labyrinth. And I'm like, I have to clean that up this year because I've overplanted now. I dream too big.
Right. Never too big.
All these flowers,
yeah,
I dream too big, and now my flowers are getting crowded, so I got to thin them out a little.
I love that. I love that labyrinth. Always cheers me up when I see Lucy out there. Like, it's so.
That's a great example of dream big.
Yes, and everything's like, then summer comes and it's like, holy crap!
What did I do? Okay, it's all coming at once. Wait a minute.
Yeah. And then we kind of thin out and we kind of wane back again as we move in. So it's all part of the cycle.
It is interesting because, like, I have this one stretch in the back of my yard, right at the wood line, where the ground is so hard, and I've tried digging it up. But they must have at one time put gravel up there because there's a lot of little gravel rocks, and it's a pain to mow and everything. There's very little grass that grows. It's kind of barren land, and I've tried fertilizer and different things. I've tried different plant materials up there to try to get something to grow, and I'm kind of like, I'm wasting all this energy on something that doesn't want anything to grow. Let me go down here, where I know things work and everything. So I've kind of left it alone now. I'm like, all right, it is what it is.
Right.
I can't change it.
Right.
Unless I hire a professional landscaper to come in and really plow up the dirt. There's too many tree roots going through there. So you start digging and you hit tree roots and stuff. I'm beating a dead horse. I'm just like constantly trying to get something working where it doesn't want to.
Right. Wow, is that a lesson? Right.
Yeah. So it's like the amount of money I spent on plant materials that died, they wouldn't prosper there, or I had to move them later before they died. And the energy that I spent on, I'm like, all right, my time is limited, right? I'm better off putting my energy into something else that I know I can create abundance in.
Letting go of what no longer serves us and what doesn't want to be served. It's like, leave me alone.
It's funny because, like, there's some people that don't want to be fixed, and we all have friends like that. Like, they just want to complain. They want to be the Debbie Downer all the time, right? And they can't ever focus on the positive. And it's like, just let it go. Let it go. They don't want to be fixed. That's their journey. That's not ours. And if they don't want to be fixed or make an effort to try to grow and learn, and they want to stay in that negative space, you don't have to be a part of the journey.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's so true.
They'll come back and do it again and hopefully learn more the next time.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
Negative thoughts, they create more despair, more hopelessness, and that's why those Debbie Downers like pull you down. It creates that sense of hopelessness. Positive thoughts change our world and they change our life experiences. So guarding your thoughts and creating a garden in your mind of positive thoughts for things to grow in the universe. Think about your brain and your thoughts as a garden and try to keep it groomed and keep it positive.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I used to have, I don't know where it is. I have to pull it, but I used to have a little folder where if I got a nice note from my boss, or I got something really wonderful from a colleague, or a friend texted me something beautiful, I would like print them all out and put them in a little folder. So if you start going down the rabbit hole, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I can shift gears. I can do that, and just you, it's so important to stay in a place where you can function and that you're not loaded with fear and anger and frustration and it's work.
It comes from learning, and learning comes from experiences. So if a lot of times, like if you feel like you're not growing, maybe you're not getting out in the world enough to have experiences and interactions and things that help us to grow.
Absolutely.
So getting out there and giving your soul an opportunity to have the experience of growing.
Yes.
And then there's others that right now, like they feel the vibration changing, and they feel the growth that's coming. It's like, I call it being on an edge, where you feel the change coming, and I'm like, lean into it. Don't be afraid of it. Lean into it. Don't lean back.
100. Yeah.
You feel all that positive energy and things shifting. And
right. I think we've become so fearful of change because our changes have been pretty crazy. Yeah. But it's such a time, like you can feel it. If you're paying attention, we're on the cusp of something huge. And people are like, well, what's it going to be? Oh my God. But, it could be something.
By talking about Victoria Skirbo and my astrology chart, and she was asking me right now, because it shows in my astrology chart that I'm going through a period of heightened thing, and I was like, yeah, I can feel it. Yeah. There are times where I feel kind of like, oh, okay, it's status quo, and there's other times where I feel like there's change coming.
Yep. And I think, that's true globally. And I think it's true for our individual charts and our individual beings. And they can sometimes be both going at it together, which intensifies it. But I think it's so important to pay attention to when you're having that feeling and just acknowledge it and say, okay, let's like you said, lean into it, man. Let's go.
And, sometimes like what here's an example of what's your mind and how you think about things. I had my car at the shop yesterday, and they were doing diagnostics because the week before, when I was there having, I had a tire that got a leak in the cold weather we had. When it went minus 15, it started leaking, so they had to reseal it, and they noticed a clunky noise, and I didn't have time that day to do a diagnostic thing. I said, can I bring it in next Thursday? So I brought it in, and I don't remember what the part was, but it's the supporting thing, and the rubber was crapping out. And anyway, it's like going to be about $1,100. I'm like, $1,100. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't had a car payment since 2008. The car's a 2005, but I drive so little. It only has 91,000 miles on it.
There you go.
I'm like, okay, $1,000, once every 10 years. Okay, whatever. And there were some other things that they may have to address on it also, but some of it's coming from dry rotting because I don't drive it enough. So the rubber is rotting. And he said, this needs to be done first. He said, these other things can wait. They're not like life threatening. He goes, this, if it snaps, it can cause you to get in an accident. So I looked at it from that standpoint of, he's keeping me safe. I'm gonna have to spend $1,000 on Monday to fix this, but he's keeping me safe, and keeping me out of an accident. So it's a blessing that he caught it before I get in an accident with it breaking and losing control of the car.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep, for sure. And that's
Beth Cat's probably laughing because I called her yesterday. I was like, oh, it was going to be like 1,100. Yeah, I was in that mode. But last night I'm like, I got to come from a place of gratitude. He's keeping me safe.
Absolutely, 100%. That's
Beth Cat's a dear friend of mine, for those watching.
Yes, I saw she's here in the chat.
Yeah, I've known her since fourth grade, so over 50 years. She'll hear me when I'm in those low points, and then I think about it during the day and everything. It's like, I got to relanguage this. Hang on, he's keeping me safe. I'm grateful for this person.
Yes, relanguaging, 100%.
As Beth put it, Beth has a way of getting me talking through it a little bit, when we're on the phone. So
Caroline said, a mechanical angel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is true. You could do everything in life one of two ways.
Yeah. And I'm grateful I have the money to have the work done. And
Absolutely.
my he had to order the parts, or that's I have to take it back in Monday morning. It's going to be one of those kind of all day things. I'm like, all right, I'll walk over to Starbucks while you work on the car.
Right. Bring a book,
Bring a book, my knitting. I go
There
back
you
and
go.
forth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I always love to see people chilling in the Starbucks and doing cool things like reading and knitting, and it makes
I
it feel
love
like
people
home.
watching. I
Yeah.
love people watching. My favorite thing is like Starbucks in the spring and summer when it's a little warmer and you can sit out on the outside patios and just
Yes.
sit there and people watch. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. That's another good thing that's coming back around. I decided so yesterday morning we had sunshine here for the first time in a long time, and I got to wake up to sunshine, which I was like, yay. And but tomorrow is also supposed to be sunny and about 50 degrees, which is huge for us this time of year. And so I decide I'm going on the walking path, and I'm going to find the biggest tree, and I'm going to give it a huge hug, because I've missed those guys this because it gets so icy. It's really hard to winter walk.
Yeah, our snow hardens like ice. It's hard to walk on it, and then the wind chill factor when we're
Yeah.
sub-zero. You
Yeah.
can't go for a walk in it.
Yeah. We've had a lot of sub-zero. So this is the true, it's going to be a rebirthing moment tomorrow. I am ready. And the next day it might be 20 below again, but that's okay. It's back and forth. We're not perfect. We keep going, and you just got to stay at it and stay focused and stay present and say, oh my God, this guy saved my life by fixing my tire. So, instead of saying,
The
oh my God,
expression
another day at grade.
thinking outside the box. I had to think outside the box about this. It's like, all right, it's money well spent. It's gonna save my life.
Right. 100%. Yay. Um, so March 20th is first day of spring. So that's, the first technical day of spring. Although right now we're kind of in that run up to spring where things are just starting to kind of come over the line a little bit. The animals and the plants are coming back to us, little tiny bits. I see a few more birds. Squirrels are crazy. They're here all winter.
Oh my God.
I don't know how they do it, but
they're digging in the snow trying to find a nut.
yeah. But it's so awesome to see like more sound coming back with the birds, and more, animals moving around. And, that's such that in itself, that rebirth of everybody kind of coming out of hibernation and coming back, and is so beautiful to me. It's even just walking the dog in the morning, I'm like, ooh, this is great. I put my feet on the ground. I ground myself, and just say thank you and just listen. And it's awesome. Like, it's a special time of year.
A lot of times, like rebirth. If we get stuck in the same mindset or doing the same things over and over again, if we don't free our mind, to borrow an in vogue song title, if we don't free our mind, right? Love that song, by the way. If we don't change how we think about things, we are just going to keep repeating and repeating and not have the rebirth we're wanting.
Right.
And rebirth to me, like, is about bringing something new in, as you're talking about nature, bringing something new in, bringing some energy in that gets us up in the morning, gets us going again.
Yes.
If we don't change our thought patterns a little bit, we do keep just repeating, and like it's old and boring and stagnant. And,
right. Yeah. And I think for myself, like when I catch myself in that cycle, like instead of saying, hey, next day's just going to be different, I kind of scold myself and I get fearful. So I think saying, you know what, I fell off the wagon. The last couple of days have been really crappy, and tomorrow's going to be different. And that's absolutely okay, because we're never going to stay on the path forever, never. It's up and down, and that's fine.
I think our journeys, everybody expects like a big change, overnight. No, it's like little baby steps and baby steps and baby steps. And then when we look back on it, we're like, whoa,
Yeah.
It seems like it all happened at once, but it didn't. It's like, what what am I willing to take a baby step towards today? You don't have to,
Right.
if you were thinking about writing a book, you don't have to write the whole book today,
Right.
but you can take a baby step towards it by just jotting some ideas down about it.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. It's so true. And just giving yourself permission to have a crappy day once in a while, and then just not letting that stop you from having a great day the next day, and not going in the fear mindset
We all need
is,
those mental health break days where
yeah,
we just are in the present, just be. It's like, oh, I just
yes.
need to be in the present without like doing anything too strenuous.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, that's what winter allows us. We're allowed to kind of go inward more. We're allowed to pull the blankets over and not move for however long we need to. It kind of shuts down. And I think, watching the cycles of the year, I think, we're so busy. I think our culture is so busy running, and instead of acknowledging that the weather is telling us something, we fight through it and we ignore it. And yes, we have to go to work and we have to do all the things, and but I think acknowledging what the cycles are trying to tell us, it can really help you just say, okay, this is all part of the process, and all because we do go inward during winter. That's so important to keep our mental health, even though it's a hard time. A slowdown time is super important for all of us to stay. You can't be on 11 forever, going crazy. So it's so important, just being in those cycles instead of just trying to ignore them and do other things. And even I think I was going, I forget, but it was outside somewhere, and instead of just acknowledging that it was pouring rain and that you just need to like honor that and do something else for that time, and let it rain and appreciate the rain and be thankful and sit and read a book or something. Instead, you're going to fight through and ignore what's in front of you. And so I think
Watering the flowers that you want to see come up.
exactly. So I think just, really slowing into that presence of what's right in front of you I'm always reminded during the winter and the rebirth time. Because like I said, when I first see those little stems, like the first days I see them, because I always look this time of year, what's going to be the first crocus or the first daffodil that's going to pop up. And once I see the little green bend in the soil, I'm like, yay. So
Lucy watches for that first little sprig of catnip to come up because it comes back every year. So she'll go over to where the catnip's supposed to be. Like, where is it? It's not coming up yet.
the animals are so smart. They have so much to teach us if we just pay attention. That's so cute. Oh my God, she's a doll. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh. So I have, unless you got something right now, Jen, I absolutely, and Jen said this too, I love Mary Oliver. I love her. She's a poet. If you don't know her, she's incredible.
Several of her books. I love her.
Yes. And she is just in tune with nature and the kind of slow presence of life. And so I printed out her poem Spring from 1990. April of 1990 is when it was in a book of poetry that she released. So I would like to read it if we're all good.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Okay. And here is the serpent again, dragging himself out from his nest of darkness, his cave under the dark rocks, his winter death. He slides over the pine needles. He loops around the branches of rising grass, looking for the sun. Well, who doesn't want the sun after a long winter? I step aside. He feels the air with his soft tongue. Around the bones of his body, he moves like oil. Downhill he goes toward the black mirrors of the pond. Last night it was still so cold. I woke and went out to stand in the yard, and there was no moon. I just stood there inside the jaw of nothing. An owl cried in the distance. I thought of Jesus, how he crouched in the dark for 2 nights and floated back above the horizon.
Wow, that is beautiful.
I
She describes perfectly that you've been hibernating away. You're waiting on just the right time to come out, slither out.
Yes. Yes, and that we all do it. Like the snakes are just as okay to do that, and as the bears, as the, you know, birds, as and it's, yeah, I just adore her, and she just brings that sense of presence in all her work. It's just like you can imagine him slithering over the pine needles. It's so
Wrapping
beautiful.
around nature. She's such a visual poet. I think that's why I like her so much.
Yes, me
It's
too.
it's interesting, like you were talking about birds earlier, in the winter when you go outside and you don't hear the birds. Um, it's so shocking when you hear them again. It's like, oh, it's always that first sign of life coming back.
Yes,
Busy, scavenging around trying to figure out where they're going to make a nest and mating and stuff. And
right. We made it, right? We
we
made it
made it.
through. Here it comes. We
Now
made it
we've
through again.
migrated back.
It's so true. Yeah. Are we ready for meditation, or do you have something to read?
No, I was just looking at my notes. I always jot down a few notes of
Yeah,
things
me
to
too. Me
just
too.
jar
Yeah.
my memory up. Like, oh, like, make sure to talk about this. I don't make a lot of notes. We usually just feed off each other, so to speak.
Right, right.
There. Talk about rebirth and growth. Get around a friend that you can gab
Yes.
with that gets you going. Like I talking to Beth yesterday.
Yeah.
Have those friends, have some of those friends that help you harvest your own garden. That you can bounce ideas off of and get brainstorm new things that you want to get into. Your close friends know what you're good at, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they may have suggestions that they know you'd be good at. Um,
Right.
they know your weaknesses too, and it's like I always say, build on a strength, not a weakness. It's hard to turn a weakness around. It's hard to change it, but you can build on a strength.
Yeah.
So you get more growth if you focus on what you're good at and quit, like me trying to dig up the back area of my yard.
Right.
It doesn't want to grow anything. I'm beating a dead horse. Quit trying
Right.
to change a weakness. Focus on the rest of the yard, that grows and overgrows.
Right. And I love this time. Like, this is like sitting and having coffee with a friend. Like, I think that's one of the goals of this is just, having friends together and just talking on topics that are important, and the meditation, and just, but it's like sitting and having coffee with you. I love it. And it's so soothing. Like the level of soothing and joy from these, conversations is just, it's awesome. And
It's
there's,
really funny because I'll have some notes, but I glance at them occasionally just to see is there something else like big that I want to bring up.
right.
But usually it's just us talking. It brings more ideas. It brings even more creative thoughts up.
Yep. Yep. It's so important. It's beautiful.
You know, stay away from if there's things on social media, like social media can be positive, like you can connect with friends you haven't seen in a while, like on
Yep.
Facebook and stuff. But
And you can find sacred sounds of coffee.
yeah, but so find those things that keep you a little more upbeat and try to stay away from the more negative stuff. I haven't been on Facebook. I go on maybe once every 2 months now. I just don't get on it that much anymore because it was getting so, and it was making me more negative.
Right.
I was turning into the ranting political person on Facebook.
I was, yes. I honestly, I was like, get this. Yeah, agreed. And, you just end up like, if you examine after I would examine, how am I feeling right now after I get off that stuff? I'm like, I'm fearful. I'm angry. I'm stressed out. I'm like, then it's not helping anybody. Yeah, for sure.
It's not helping me.
Right, right.
It comes down to us first, because to shine your light out in the world, you got to start with yourself and have that self-worth and that self-love and that self-care to grow and to rebirth something.
Yes.
So and it's never too late to get into something new, so don't be afraid to try something new either. I see it all
Absolutely.
the time when I'm doing personal readings. Somebody that's 69 years old getting into something new. I love it.
Yep. Yeah, I've decided like winter, like I was saying, like I'm picking something new every year, like, something more dense and more heavy than I've done before. And astrology is complicated. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
But it's
I mean, it's
awesome.
like tarot. You don't learn it overnight.
Right.
You have to like astrology. To me, you take a class, you absorb, you let it kind of sink in, you
Yes.
play with it, and learn from it, and then
Yes.
you take another class and learn more. Um,
Exactly. And so I'm like hooked. And so now that's what I was hoping for, something that I don't understand all at once so that it continues to grow. Do you know? I mean, that's the part I love, that there's always more.
tarot, it takes you know a long time to be able to see the relationship between the cards and see the story. So I always tell people, like there's a lot of people taking Johnny's class right now, and
Yes.
he's a great teacher, but it's like you have to practice with it
Oh,
a
absolutely.
lot until
Yes.
you have those light bulb moments where you're seeing the story that it's telling. Somebody's squirrel watching back here. Do you see? I think that's Roro. Yeah, that's Roro. There's a squirrel outside the
Hey,
tree
bro.
scampering. She's watching.
Yes, she wants the catnip out there.
Yeah. Squirrel coming back to life.
Oh, squirrels. Oh my gosh, that's my Rosie's nemesis. Those squirrels are her nemesis.
I had one that jumped up on the screen of the window the
Oh
other day.
boy.
Lucy was sitting here, and it was like this on the screen, and Lucy was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like trying to get in my face."
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's
Self worth. Take care of yourself first. Light the candle in here first. It will shine outwards.
right.
So,
Yep.
okay, are we ready for meditation?
I think we are. I'm gonna mute myself until I'm ready to turn on in stereo, because otherwise I'm gonna.
Okay, when you turn in stereo, I'll mute.
Okay, let's see here. Okay.
Archangel Raphael, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Ariel, to all our guides and angels, we surrender to your mercy, compassion, and healing. We thank you for the infinite wisdom that flows through us. We thank you for the growth we have from that wisdom that flows through us. We thank you for helping us to allow that wisdom to flow, to understand what resonates with us, and to grow from our experiences and learn. We thank you for helping us to learn from all those experiences, for turning past pain into current power and strength. We thank you for aiding in our rebirth into the life that we visualize, aiding my rebirth into the life I visualize. We thank you for helping me catch my thoughts and words and relanguaging the brain, relanguaging my thoughts into positive, higher vibrations. We thank you for bringing awareness to us on our thoughts and the power of them in growth and rebirth, bringing awareness to the forefront, which keeps us in the present. That last bowl just kept resonating. It was
Yes, I
just
didn't want to
hanging
cut
on
it
so
off.
long. That was
Yes,
beautiful. I think your bowls really came alive today and wanted to rebirth too.
they did. That was my focus. I did third eye, I did heart, and I did and a little bit of communication because we start to kind of come out of ourselves again. So the throat chakra. So I was just banging on, like I'm trying to like wake up, wake
I
up.
could really feel when you hit that third eye chakra. That
Yes,
was
that was the
beautiful.
one I started with, and the one I ended with heart, but did third eye up right up until the end.
And
So
your
yeah.
sound was really good today.
Oh, good. I've been
Sometimes we
working on it.
struggle trying to get the sound right. The
Oh,
sound was
it's so
beautiful.
hard, and I found these. I don't have them in front of me, but I've been working on kind of doing the styrofoam pads to kind of put on the walls because I have cement ceilings, cement walls. Like it bounces like crazy, and it's not the best sound. So I've been working on covering the ceiling and parts of the walls with like sound pads to kind of warm it up a little bit. So it's just kind of, so yeah, it's a work in progress.
Darren just put a beautiful quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson in the
Oh my
chat.
God.
Getting through winter is easy. Adopt the pace of nature.
Yes.
Her secret is patience.
Thank you. Yes, that is so
It goes back
beautiful.
to what I was saying about it's baby steps. The journey
Yes,
isn't about a marathon, a race like sprinting. It's a marathon. Pace yourself, little baby steps.
absolutely. And we just talked about the cycles and just, if we stay with the earth, we're way better off than if we kind of go our own path and plow through things and ignore everything around us. And oh my God, Emerson's one of my favorites. That's so beautiful. Yes. Your
I knew
secret
it
is
was time to start
patience.
the meditation when Roro came around because she always comes up here when I light the candle. I'm always like, back, stay back.
Yep. Usually I have to watch when I step up because as soon as I go for the bowls, I got a pile of animals here.
Ooh, I blew out
Oh
my
my
candle.
gosh. Thank you everybody for being here today. Oh my God, so exciting. Thank you, Beth Cat. Thank you, everybody. That's so awesome. I love these. So grateful. So we will see you next
Next
month.
Sacred Set, first Friday of March on back on my channel.
Yes. Yes, yes, absolutely. We will be here with our coffee. Yes, awesome. And don't forget to sign up for Jen in June in Portland. It's awesome.
Set
It's
that
going to be
intention.
awesome.
Have a great day and a great month.
Yes. Bye, everybody. Thank you.